Gentlelady's time has expired. The gentleman from New York, Mr. Garbarino, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all for being here all day today. I appreciate it. Mr. Willems, I have a question for you. The Asian Development Bank is probably the most important development institution in the Asia-Pacific region, addressing regional development problems using financing in the form of grants, loans, and advisory services. However, beginning in 2014 with the New Development Bank and in 2016 with the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, China has created its own rival banks, while still itself getting loans from the Asian Development Bank. I believe China received the second most amount, accounting for 14% of the bank's outstanding loans. There have been discussions with the Asian Development Bank about possibly stopping loans to China, because even though China likes to say it's a developing country, we don't think it is anymore. Do you think, but they haven't made a final decision, do you think China should still receive or should stop receiving loans from the Asian Development Bank? And what advantages does China get by continuing to receive these loans?
So thank you for the question, and I agree. I think China should not receive loans from either the World Bank or the Asian Development Bank. And I don't have it in front of me, but if you look at the World Bank's Articles of Agreement, it talks about the countries that should receive loans are those that don't have the liquidity themselves. So what you have here is China actually getting the loans instead of those who actually need it. And so I think in both of those institutions, we need to try to work with allies to create a situation where China is no longer getting loans. Because if they can do Belt and Road, if they can do the AAIB, they clearly don't need the ADB or the World Bank.
Exactly, and I love you're saying that they're taking 14% of the pot of money here that could be going to other people, and you just mentioned Belt and Road, and I guess that's been around for what, 2 decades or so, and I think the estimates last pegged China's lending to the development world at $1 trillion. I think it was the last estimates in the last couple of years, which would make them bigger than the World Bank and IMF. So, and these loans though that they're giving out to these developing countries are usually shorter term, higher interest rates, and we're seeing now Pakistan said it wants to renegotiate Belt and Road Initiative payments, accusing Chinese companies of inflating the cost of construction by $3 billion. Beijing, Laos or Sri Lanka, and I think some other African nations have asked to restructure and delay repayments or forgive billions of dollars because of the high interest rates and everybody coming out of the pandemic. Because of what these loans that China has done through Belt and Road Initiative, and now these developing countries are look like they're being harmed even worse than we thought they were going to be. What roles should we and other international financial institutions have in addressing the needs of these developing countries that receive funds from the Belt and Road Initiative and now are in need of debt relief?
Yeah, so 2 comments on this. The first is, the hypocrisy from China is thick, right? China goes around and says it's the defender of the multilateral system and it's a responsible international stakeholder, yet it's the outlier in refusing to restructure these debts. And so I do think we need to work with allies to pressure China to change its position. The second point I would make is we need to help prevent these countries from getting in that position in the first place. And one of the issues that I think we need to focus even more on is our development tools, the DFC and others, and figuring out how to provide a robust alternative to China so that these countries aren't taking Belt and Road money to begin with.
Okay, but we have to make sure, we've got to make sure that taxpayers aren't bailing out these bad loans, because...
Agree.
Okay, I just want to make sure that, so how though, what type of pressure, because I don't know if IMF or World Bank coming in and renegotiating these loans is going to work, but so what kind of pressure can we put on Beijing to make them do it?
So I think one of the things we want to do is work with G7 partners. And the United States alone doesn't have the voting shares in either of these institutions to be able to leverage change itself. It needs partners. And so we need to get those partners who have enough voting shares to actually make a difference. We need all of them to band together on the same, get on the same page and pressure China, and that's the best way to do it, in my opinion.
I appreciate those answers, and I'm out of time, so I yield back. Thank you very much.